One day after winning their fight for a new judge, Karmelo Anthony's attorneys are now fighting for a new trial.
Both sides spent much of today arguing over whether Anthony's rights were violated during his murder trial and revealed some new evidence in the process of all that. Fox 4's Alex Boyer was inside the courtroom today and joins us now live with what he heard. All right, Alex, what's going on?
Hey guys, good afternoon. I can tell you that testimony just concluded for today. Now, the new defense team is arguing that Karmelo Anthony should be granted a new trial due to a lack of transparency and what they call limited public access to that original murder trial. As always, cameras were not allowed inside for today's hearings. As you mentioned, I did sit in on a good chunk of that along with our sketch artist. Take a look. Now, Anthony, who is now 19 years old, wore a suit and tie in court today. Presiding Judge Michael Chitty, who was just appointed yesterday, allowed his handcuffs to be removed while court was in session. In opening statements, lead defense attorney Russell Wilson argued that Anthony deserves a new trial because of errors that limited the public's access to the proceedings. Former Collin County Public Information Officer Derek Jackson testified that before the trial, testing was done to make sure that cameras would work in an overflow room for trial observers. Jackson testified that then trial judge John Roach, who was recused yesterday, then told them that there was not going to be an overflow room for the actual trial. Jackson said he was not told what the deciding factor was. I talked to an attorney who sat in on today's proceedings as a court observer.
The main factor to it is everyone has a right to a public trial and to have trial that the public can watch as a constitutional right, just to make sure that things are done fairly and that people that are concerned about their community can hear what's going on.
And one of those things we've heard in opening statements could have been the live stream in the ceremonial courtroom.
Right, because the first couple of days, I believe, from the jury selection, there was that overflow room that was open and people had access and they could see what was going on during jury selection. And then after the jury selection, it was shut off. And so that was part of the arguments this morning, is why was this shut off? And it's not written in the record of exactly what the court considered in shutting that off.
So Anthony, who is now 19 years old, was convicted of the murder of Austin Metcalf back in June and sentenced to 35 years in prison after a jury rejected his claims of self-defense during a confrontation with Metcalf at a school track meet last year. Metcalf was fatally stabbed by Anthony. On Thursday, Wilson also said that Judge Roach allowed what he called a shadow docket that kept information out of the trial in public view, including off-the-record conversations between attorneys for both sides. Wilson argued that Anthony was not present during pretrial hearings, which is his constitutional right.
Well, I think that that's going to be a really good argument for the defense, because a defendant's always entitled to be at hearings that involve their case and that involve their matters. And so, the argument is, as Bill has said, safety concerns and bringing them in a back way. I think one other thing in now technology, and it happens in courthouses throughout the country, since COVID, you can Zoom defendants in. So if there's a safety concern, there's an argument that you could just put him on Zoom where he physically isn't in the courtroom, but he is present for what's going on. And I think that we'll probably see the defense argue that he was deprived not being at certain parts of the judicial process with his case and having a right to that.
So lead prosecutor Bill Worski argued that Anthony had received a fair trial and said that his original trial attorneys had agreed to everything that was done during the trial, and that decisions made to limit public access and information was due to what he called a threat environment that was brewing on social media leading up to the trial. And again, I can tell you that testimony is done for today. We do know that it will resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. I will be here for that. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer at the courthouse. Alex, thanks.
And to follow more of today's developments and to get updates on tomorrow's proceedings, scan the QR code on your screen. You can also go to Fox Local. It is free in your app store, or go to our website anytime, fox4news.com.